item on the agenda for the special meeting is to hold a public hearing to discuss an application being submitted to the State of Maine CDBG program for a public service grant.
Good evening, Jana Richards, the Economic Development Director for the City of Ellsworth. I am here before you having had worked on some CDBG grants previously for the city, so have some experience. However, have never had experience with this individual program. This is called the Public Service Program under Community Development Block Grant with the state. So just figured I would give you a little bit of background on some of how that funding source comes to the state, and talk a little bit about this program and the application that is in the packet. So the state's Department of Economic and Community Development administers the state's Community Development Block Grant Program. The funds that are part of that program are federal, and they're distributed through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, so otherwise known as HUD. So this is a new program, like I said, called the Public Service Grant Program, and it is designed to address community resource needs by providing funding for operating expenses, equipment, and program materials for activities which will benefit low to moderate income persons. And there's examples of some of the eligible activities, and one of those examples is homeless services, drug abuse, mental health counseling and treatment, senior citizen services, recreational programs, etc. So the city was actually approached by Families First Community Center, which is one of our nonprofit entities that resides here in the city of Ellsworth, and they work with homeless and at risk of homeless populations. And Shayna Frazier is here. She is their executive director. And they asked if we would work with them on coming up with, work on an application. They had already come up with a lot of the program and the program details that they were going to ask for funding for. So we worked with them after ensuring that these services that they would be providing weren't actually duplicate efforts of what the city provides, and also duplicate efforts of what other service providers in the city of Ellsworth also provide. So these are unique, and they actually complement a lot of the services that are already provided to homeless and LMI populations here in Ellsworth. So we submitted a letter of intent for the program. That's the process. You have to actually be invited to apply after they read the letter of intent, and we were. And so we were approved to move forward with a full application for funding, and in your packet you will see that entire application, which includes the project budget, the scope of the program being proposed, and the schedule. And I just wanted to add that the Community Development Block Grant Program, since it is federal funds, is fairly articulate in the fact that you have to hold a public hearing and also have a sign-in sheet. So we sent the sign-in sheet around. I signed in the counselors. I hope that's okay, and other city staff. And also we have to open a public hearing, close a public hearing, and we have to provide them with minutes that this hearing actually occurred. So I told Shayna that if there was any questions regarding the actual program itself, it's called the Helping Hour, that she's here and available to answer those questions, and then I'm here and available to answer any questions about any details for CDBG programming.
Questions?
There's a chart, a graph of funding, and so the entire program costs more than the amount given by the grant, to the tune of 28 to 30,000 or something. The other category where 28,000 comes from, a lot of it going to admin costs. What is that other? Who's giving that money?
They actually fundraised. I can let her speak to that, but it's actually they're in-kind funds that they fundraised for, and so yeah, they're going toward administrative costs such as I want to say staff and volunteers. Yep.
So that's mostly operational. It sounds like the grant funding would be going for goods, services, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Promotional materials, I think, is one of the activities that you can get funding for. you can't fund staff, so.
As far as the role of the city, it's just sponsor, basically?
Yeah, so community development block grant funding, a municipality or like a tribal entity has to be the actual applicant. In this case, what I found out about the public service program is that a county can actually be a applicant if they are representing multiple towns within that county. But no private business or nonprofit entity can apply on their own. The municipality has to be the prime applicant.
What is HUD's definition for low to moderate income in terms of numbers? Do you have that?
So, yeah. It's in- So usually it's 80 to 100% of, I believe it's going to be the state's median income. But I thought it was in here. Yeah, as defined by HUD, but then it doesn't explain what it is in this part of it. In this case, though, I don't 100% know the answer to that. I want to say that it is 80 to 120% of the state median income, but sometimes it can also be the county's median income, so I'm not exactly sure. But in this case, there is, so basically, HUD allows for the public service grant program that if a project is designed for a group presumed by HUD to be low to moderate income, and homeless persons is one of those groups, then you have to check that box on the application, and so therefore that box is checked on here, because the majority of the people that would benefit from these funds would be homeless or at risk of homelessness, so they fall under that category.
That's the specific target.
Yes,
homeless group.
yeah. Yeah, so page 9 of the application, it says, is this PSG application in support of program activities designed exclusively for members of one or more of the groups below, presumed by HUD to be low to moderate income? And our answer was yes, and the group that was checked is homeless persons.
So when I was reading the application, some of the services are fuel assistance and rental assistance. So are those in addition to what people in this income range receive from general assistance and LIHEAP and those type of things? Is it in addition to that, or people that don't qualify for that?
A lot of times what we're
Yeah.
finding, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
you want
we-
me to-
yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
We've found that there's a little bit of a gap sometimes in between when people can get their general assistance appointment and when they have their needs. So we're hoping that we'll be able to fill that gap and provide people with either rental assistance and or fuel assistance in the meantime.
So this is more than Ellsworth people, this is community-wide?
Hancock County.
Hancock County?
Yeah.
Okay.
This seems like a really well thought out program description or project description. From
Yes.
PR, media plan to the training program, housing supplies, and assistance with applications, which seems like probably a big barrier for a lot of people.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Thanks for the work.
Oh, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no other questions, I'll open the public hearing, and then we'll go from there. So this is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. If anybody wishes to speak on this topic, you can do so now. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll just stay
Close.
Yeah, you go up here, right?
yes, please.
Oh,
Terry Willett, and I'm the board chair of Families First Community Center. And I just want to assure people if they're like, is it really going to do what it says it's going to do? And my experience with Shayna as the director is that she gets things done and she stays right on top of things. So data will be collected, we'll know exactly how things, how the program, did it follow exactly, or how much did it achieve? I have full confidence in her. She's really been great. So, and I've also sat in the chair that they sit in and get the phone calls that they get, and there is definitely a need, and we're working with the other organizations in town, not trying to compete with them, but it is hard when you get a call from someone who they don't call until they're out of oil. Like they've got a small child and they're out of oil today. And, general assistance can only do so much. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now I'll close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed. Is there additional comments? Is there a motion?
Just before a motion, I would love to, after the start, looks like in August is the hopeful start date of the program. I'd love several months after that to hear just how things are going, progressing with training and everything. I think it'd be useful for the council.
Move to, I don't have anything in front of me, except, move to approve the submittal of a public service program community block grant application with the city of Ellsworth as the applicant, Families First Community Center as the applicant and subgrantee in order to receive funding for the program as defined in the application to the state's CDBG program, and if awarded, to approve the acceptance of the awarded funds up to $50,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn this special meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, the special meeting is adjourned.